Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys.
Cowboys predicted to cut veteran quarterback after projected demotion. Dak Prescott's future has generated the majority of the offseason attention for the Dallas Cowboys, but the franchise also faces decisions on Cooper Rush and Trey Lance, with Lance's cap hit increasing by more than $4 million this season compared to 2023. Rush's future with the franchise remains uncertain. The Athletic's John Makota noted that Lance is expected to take over the backup quarterback role from Rush in 2024. The Cowboys insider believes Rush's days with the franchise are numbered. Dallas only keeps Prescott and Lance while releasing Rush in Makota's roster projections. The Cowboys are unlikely to keep 3 quarterbacks, so the backup job comes down to Lance and Cooper Rush, Makota wrote in a July 3, 2024 article titled Cowboys 53-Man Roster Projection. Trey Lance versus Cooper Rush Decisions on the D-line. While Rush is more accomplished in NFL games, the Cowboys are hoping Lance can show some of the upside that made him the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Lance will get every opportunity to win the backup spot. He would have to look awful in camp and the preseason to not get the job. Could the Cowboys look to trade Cooper Rush instead of releasing the veteran quarterback? Rush has a $2.8 million cap hit in 2024 for the final season of a 2-year, $5 million contract. Dallas could opt to keep all 3 quarterbacks, but Makota's projections have the front office using this more than $2 million cap savings in other ways. Could Dallas look to trade Rush rather than releasing the quarterback? Rush had a free agent market in 2023 before re-signing with the Cowboys. ESPN's Todd Archer reported that the Las Vegas Raiders and Cincinnati Bengals were 2 teams who expressed an interest in Rush. Even if the Cowboys were able to net a late-round draft pick, it would be better than releasing Rush for nothing. After going 4-1 last season as the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback while Dak Prescott recovered from thumb surgery, Rush was a hot commodity in free agency, Archer detailed in an April 4, 2023 story titled Bad Weather, a Delayed Flight, and Kismet, How Cooper Rush's Deal with Cowboys Got Done. He was flying to Las Vegas that day to meet with the Raiders, and the Cincinnati Bengals also expressed interest and hoped to set up a visit. Though the flight was never canceled, Rush never got on the plane. He took a night to sleep on the Cowboys' offer and woke up on St. Patrick's Day with a 2-year deal worth a max of $6 million that included a $1.25 million signing bonus. Dak Prescott on contract extension with Cowboys. I'm going to let my agent handle that. As for Prescott, the quarterback is still without a contract extension. If no new deal is signed, Prescott would be a free agent in 2025. Yet Prescott does not sound concerned about his uncertain contract status. Yeah, there's been conversations back and forth, but for the most part, for me, as y'all know, I'm going to let my agent do that, especially as we get right here into training camp. Prescott told reporters on July 9th, Day 1 of training camp, my mind flips to obviously helping my team and just doing everything I can within the organization and on the football field to make sure that I am my best and everyone around me is their best, and the money and all that will take care of itself, as it always has. Cowboys predicted to cut ties with fan-favorite playmaker. For the Cowboys and the team's fans, it started with a 30-yard kick return in the preseason opener last August against the Jaguars. From there, it was 8 fairly impressive runs for 50 yards total, an average of 6.3 per carry. That included an impressive jitterbugging 26-yard run to help set up a touchdown early in the second half, which he himself scored when fans began raining down chants of DUXC. After that TD, it was clear that Deuce Vaughn had become a fan favorite. The reasons were obvious. At 5'5", Vaughn brings a David and Goliath element to every play. And back in the 2023 draft, when the Cowboys selected Vaughn in the 6th round, it was his father, Chris, the Cowboys' head of scouting, who got to make the call to his son telling he had been drafted. It was a tear-jerking moment, but preseason week 1 was the highlight of Vaughn's season. He had 5 carries for 14 yards and a touchdown in the Cowboys' second preseason game, and no carries in the finale. He had 23 carries for 40 yards during the season, as well as plus 7 catches for another 40 yards. Vaughn also had 4 punt returns for 19 yards. Now it seems the feel-good, fan-favorite story that was Deuce Vaughn and the Cowboys could soon evaporate. One team insider has Vaughn failing to make the 53-man roster for the Cowboys. Deuce Vaughn not better than the next guy. The insider is longtime Dallas media fixture Mike Fisher, who outlined a likely 53-man Cowboys roster this week for C.com/AthlonSports. In it, Fisher picked just 4 running backs for the Cowboys this season, an especially weak group but one that still did not include Vaughn. It won't help that the Cowboys might not be done adding to the running back room, especially if its weak crop proves even more disappointing once camp gets rolling. Here's how Fisher summed up the group. Running back, 4, Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, Malik Davis, Hunter Luepke. If this isn't working at some point in camp, maybe Dallas takes a look at some veteran names. Maybe Dowdle emerges as being better than Zeke, and maybe Deuce Vaughn finds a role, though we can't figure out, except for special teams, exactly how he's better than the next guy. Indeed, popularity with the fan base only carries a player so far. Elliott and Dowdle are locks to make the roster, so the challenge for Vaughn would be in beating out Davis and/or Hunter, or a late-camp veteran addition. Cowboys running backs ranked worst in NFL, Vaughn could stick with the Cowboys, of course, as a member of the practice squad, though he could get picked up by another team if, indeed, he is cut this summer. His combination of speed and shiftiness could make him a useful third-down back for a team if he were to get a shot. As it stands, though, getting cut from what is widely seen as the worst running back group in the NFL would not be good for the resume. Pro Football Focus recently ranked the Cowboys as the worst running back group in the league at number 32. The site wrote, after letting Tony Pollard sign elsewhere in free agency and missing out on the top backs in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Cowboys re-signed Ezekiel Elliott to be their lead rusher. Elliott's glory days came with the Cowboys, but his yards per carry average has dipped below 4.0 over the past 2 seasons, resulting in a career-low 69.2 PFF rushing grade in 2023. Behind him are Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn. It's been 20 years since the Cowboys had a losing season with a healthy starting quarterback. The Dallas Cowboys are a good football team, but for nearly 30 years, they haven't been good enough. Fans have been reminded repeatedly that they haven't gotten past the divisional round of the playoffs since 1995. That's a long time. If you're upset about that, then chances are you have some built-up frustration directed at one of these individuals, Dak Prescott or Jerry Jones. These are the names that dominate the headlines. Jerry Jones is the owner and general manager of this football team. He makes all the big decisions that impact who stays and who goes. Granted, several people weigh in on things, and we can lump them together collectively as the front office. But regardless of how you group it, many people aren't fans of the Cowboys' front office. Then there's Doc. He's the most important player on this football team. Prescott is a 3-time Pro Bowler and finished second in voting for league MVP last year. Yet some are unsatisfied with his performance, particularly come playoff time, as he's had some less than stellar showings over the last few seasons. But here's the dealio. Dak Prescott and the front office are actually pretty good. That is the case presented today as we attempt to paint a picture that these two elements of the organization are actually strengths. One of the things that stands out about this team is that they are competitive year in and year out as long as their starting quarterback is healthy. The Cowboys have only had 3 losing seasons since 2005. They went 6-10 in 2020, 4-12 in 2015, and 6-10 in 2010. They lost their starting quarterback for at least half the season in each of those years. Whether it's Dak Prescott or Tony Romo, when these guys are on the field, the Cowboys win. That's an impressive feat. Not a lot of teams can say the same thing. In fact, if you ran through every team in the NFL and recorded the last time they had a losing record with their starting quarterback, it would look like this. The fact Prescott or Romo never had a losing season in years where they played at least half the season is a testament to how good these guys are. Tom Brady can't say that. Neither can Aaron Rodgers. The same goes for Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, and many other really good quarterbacks on this list. Granted, context is important. The quarterbacks mentioned above are great players, and we're not suggesting Prescott or Romo are better than them, or even belong in the same tier as these future Hall of Famers. Even the great ones have down years as they are just one person. Sometimes the talent around them isn't good enough to help the team finish with a winning record. And that is where the Cowboys front office deserves credit. Even when Prescott or Romo aren't shining their brightest, the Cowboys still win games as long as they're healthy. If you look at that list again, you'll find some of the league's top young quarterbacks. But is it fair to judge Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert when they were thrown into the starting QB role their first year in the league? Yes, it is. We can think of another young rookie quarterback who had to take on that responsibility back in 2016.